are going to explore how to mix colors today. So on my paint plate right here, I have the three primary colors, which are red, blue, and yellow. And those are the three most important colors. They mix to make every other color in the rainbow. And then as you can see, I have some white in the middle, which we are going to use later to create different tints of the colors that we create from the primary colors. So your goal today is to create as many colors as you can create and come up with. And then later we're going to practice actually giving them names and coming up with things that we could use that color for. So what you're going to need for this activity is a white paper. I also have a paper plate full of paint. You might have paint at home that kind of looks like this, but just start out with the primary colors so you actually can, practice learning the different colors. And then I have a dog dish and brushes, but you can just use a cup full of water that you have at home, and then also a paper towel. This is what I'm going to be drying my brushes out on. And then this last thing I have on my setup is a magazine page, and this is actually where I'm going to mix a lot of the colors on after I get my secondary colors mixed on there. And then the nice thing about this is that at the end all you have to do is fold it up and throw it away. If you don't have magazine pages, you can also just use another paper plate or a styrofoam plate or whatever you have around in your house. So let's get started. First, I'm going to mix my secondary colors, the second group of colors in the rainbow, from the primaries on my plate. So when I go ahead and start painting, what I'm going to do is pull some of the color that is on the plate to the middle. So I know that yellow and a little bit of red are going to mix to make a puddle of orange. So this is more just the typical orange you see in the rainbow. And I'm not mixing up all of the puddles because I want to be able to use those colors to mix with the other colors. And when we explore mixing all different kinds of colors. So what I'm going to do is just paint that swatch on my paper. That's my first color I've created today. Now, when I go ahead and mix for the next color, I'm going to want to rinse my brush out by scrubbing it on the bottom of my cup and getting all that paint out. Because if you mix all three primary colors together, it actually makes some neutral form or kind of a brownish color. So I want to make sure my brush is really clean before I switch to new primary colors. And then I'm going to pull a little bit over here. And depending on what you want your purple to look like, you can either add more red or more blue. Same thing for the orange. If you want it to be more fire orange, add more red. If you want it to be more golden orange, add more yellow. Those are ways that you can create different colors as well. So I have kind of almost like a dark purple there. Then I'm going to rinse my brush out, and my last secondary color is going to be green. So again, if you want it to look more turquoisey or blue-green, pull more blue into it. If you want it to be more lime green, pull more yellow into it. So now that we have those secondary colors, we can go ahead and mix as many new colors as we want. So I could try to add a little bit more blue to this to make that more of a bright green. If I wanted to be even more teal, maybe I'll just load my brush up with blue. Now, if I wanted to add white to a color, I'm not going to dip it right in the middle of the puddle. I'm just going to pull a little chunk right here. I can mix it around on my magazine page to test it out first before actually painting on my paper to see what colors I need to add more of. So if I want it to be more of a light teal, I'm going to add maybe a little bit more blue to it. Maybe a little bit more white. Now from here, you can explore. I have this paintbrush loaded up, but I might want to just start mixing it with other colors to see what happens. Sometimes you might get brown, sometimes you might get gray. That's okay. All artists use those colors in their painting. Now, if you do want to start over completely and not have it just turn to just pure brown, you may need to rinse out your brush. So I'm going to mix as many colors as I want with this brush loaded up with the color that's already on there, and then when I want to switch, I might rinse it out. So like I want to switch to maybe more of an orange and yellow combination. So I don't want that purple in there. So I might scoop up a lot of yellow and make more of a golden orange. Now I could test out and mix it with maybe another color like this green over here and see what happens. You might notice it turned a little bit more like wheat, kind of a neutral color. This one's more of a color you'd see in the fields. Now say you want to mix a color that's really, really light, like this light purple. What you're going to do is start out with just pure white, load it up, and mix the color that you want to create into the white. That's what helps keep it really, really light. If you go the other way, it doesn't work so well. So a nice light pink I've created. Maybe that one could be called cotton candy pink. I'm gonna wash out my brush. Maybe try out a red with some green in it and see what happens. So that created kind of a nice barn red. A little bit more toned down red. So you can explore all kinds of different colors by just mixing the different combinations and adding a little bit of each thing to see what happens. So now you've mixed all of your colors. Now for the fun part, we get to name all of our colors based on what they remind us of. You also might want to write a little bit of a recipe for how to make that color so you can recreate it again for a future painting. So some of the names I came up with were like Summer Lime, because that color was so bright, it reminded me of summer. I have Cotton Candy Pink and Barn Red, Harvest Orange, Seaside Green, Golden Sunset. This brown down here I named Chocolate Cake, Army Green, and my favorite, Mint to Be. So have fun labeling and naming all of your different colors. I hope you enjoyed this challenge.